Today I'm joined by Nikolai Naylor. Nikolai is the owner and managing director of Naylor Accountancy, a firm of accountants based in Tunbridge, Wales, and also Intelligent Outsourcing, who help accountants to find the high quality employees they need to grow their practice by offshoring. Hi, Nikolai.
Hi, thanks, Simon. Thanks for inviting me.
No, great you could join us today. So, Nikolai, tell us a little bit more about your businesses.
So I have, like you say, the two. So I started with Naylor Accountancy Services. That was back in December 21. My first client was, I think, February 2012. So 2011 I started, 2012. And then, so we've grown that over the years. So we now have 4 offices. So in Southampton, Crowborough, Tunbridge Wells, and London. And then, and we've grown by acquisition. So we've got another acquisition coming up as well in October. And then I've got Intelligent Outsourcing, which we set up founded in 2016. And that's based in the Philippines, where we do the offshoring. So we help accountants because there's a big struggle for talent, and also to help them grow their firms, bookkeeping firms and accountancy firms. So we get accountants in the Philippines in our offices to work for them, using their systems and processes. So that's what we do. In the business, I have also written a book which I've just got there, The Firm You Want, but that is focused on accountants, but it also works for businesses. So I'm looking to rewrite that at some point, but it's on Amazon and Kindle. It's just very, very reasonable, but it's just something for accountants to help them as well.
I like that. I'll make a point of getting that. I love reading and taking in knowledge and people's opinions. So I'll make a point of getting that. So thanks.
It's an easy read, Simon, with pictures and stuff, because I like things being just simple and going through it, because that's how I like it myself.
Sounds like my type of book. Yeah, that's great. I'll make a point of having a look at that. So look, let's go back to the, if you like, the beginning, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you started off with actually similar to me, with a career in the city.
Yes.
You worked in sort of multiple sort of banks and sort of corporations. So why decide to start your own business?
It's very interesting because I always wanted to have my own business, even as a kid, because my grandfather, I'm half Danish, in Denmark. My mum and my great-grandfather, well, my grandfather had his own business as well, my family business, but they had lots of businesses. So I've always been intrigued by businesses. But it wasn't until I was actually made redundant in the city, and I just did not want to go back in the city again. So I just wanted to have more control of what I was doing. So I just had to get my wife on board. And then, because I'm an accountant, then I set up an accountancy firm, because my friend helped me do that, who already had an accountancy firm. So I was able to get help from him, because, as you know, moving from the city is very different when you start working for yourself, because it's easier being an employee than a business owner, because there's so many more things to do and think about, and you only get paid what you get coming in as well.
Yeah, you lose that paycheck at the end of
you do
every month. Yeah. So okay, that's great. And look, and yeah, I had to transition from that as well. And I remember when I first started, and I started working from home, to get me in the right mindset, I actually walked out of my front door, walked around the block, and came in. I've got a separate entrance to my office, to make me feel as though I was actually sort of leaving for work, because I struggled with that transition. So yeah, it is very different. So you mentioned there, Nikolai, that it is different, and you've got being an owner of a business, an employer rather than an employee. At the beginning, if you can think back to the beginning, what were the key things that you realized that actually there's things that I need to learn, need to know here and do that are different to being an employee?
A lot of it was self-development, and it's a massive thing. So I mean, I know, Simon, you're a coach. So one big thing is that you need to get not just your own knowledge, you want to get people on board, like a coach or a mentor or someone like that. I didn't really realize that to start off with, but it's a lot of self-development, and it's all mindset as well. So and then creating the plans and everything like that. So I didn't really appreciate that quite at the start, but the whole mindset, and like you said, I actually used to do the same thing. You need to get yourself ready for work. So I used to have my uniform for work, and I do now. I still wear different clothes, and I change when I finish work. I change clothes
Yeah.
because I just don't like wearing the same clothes. So I go more casual. Not that this isn't casual, but it is more casual.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's more casual than going to the city with
yeah,
a suit and tie on and that sort of thing.
exactly. So that's what I've learned. But the whole thing is, I mean, like, you know, in any business, and I'm sure you see that with all the people you work with, Simon, is it's perseverance as well, because you have a lot of downs and ups, and you need the support around you as well. So, you know, you don't have the luxury of a team to start off with when you start a business. So it's mainly you, and whoever else you have in support, family wise, or friends that have the ability to support you in the same time.
I like that. So surrounding yourself by people that are supportive and that can help, even if they're, you know, even if you in the early stages you can't actually recruit a team, or but just surrounding yourself by the right people, because it is a tough journey.
It is.
It's, you know, a lot. You know, it's not easy starting up a business. So because, you know, you have got to think about it. It's not just, you know, for you, it's not just about being a great accountant. For me, it's not just about being a great coach. It's about the sales, the marketing, the finance when you do get a team, you know, leadership, management, you know, all of those sort of things that actually you've got to juggle in the early days because you're the only one doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, great. So what would you say were some of the challenges that you came across in those early days?
So, I mean, the main challenge is because you are by yourself and you're not normally used to that, working by yourself, and it's you can't do everything. You need to sort of realize you can't do everything all at the same time as well. Um, and I think one of the big challenges is I didn't have a written down plan, and I think that's what, if I went back, I'd definitely have a written down plan, and then look to do it step by step, which is what we do all the time now. But I didn't do that. It was more, I was winging it, to be honest, at the start. And then also the mind, there was books that I'd have read which I didn't even realize until a few years in, and they're just sort of some of the basic ones just on self-development, just so you understand. Because when you work in the city, or, you know, I'm used to, you know, been to university, I've done my accountancy, you know, was it, what do you call it, not diploma, certification, you know. And then I've become a treasurer as well, so I did that. So I've always done work and courses that were sort of all formulaic, whereas when it comes to self-development, it's not, it's very different. Like the books and everything, you're having to learn things which aren't a course necessarily. It's a book, and then you look at how you do it, the mindsets. If you have a coach like yourself, it does help, really does help people, and a mentor, because you've done that journey, you've seen it, so it helps you. So I think there's so many things that you learn, but it is the self-development is the massive thing, as well as perseverance. But it is a massive, and looking at you. So, I mean, I've done it in my book as well. So I start with the you. So I have a growth formula which I've sort of created, but it's not in the book. It's going to be my next one. But it starts with the you, because if you don't know what you want and you can't get yourself all sorted, like as you grow, being able to delegate, trust people, and all that, then you aren't going to be growing. You can just stay still where you are, which is fine if that's what you want, but you need to know that you are the bottleneck, not anyone else, because people do blame, and then you are the responsible person with everything as the business owner. But that's but self-development is a massive thing for me, Simon,
Yeah,
and I wish I'd known it more at the start.
sorry, go on, Nicola.
And I wish I'd known it more at the start, you know, about the self-development bit. But
Yeah, look, I agree. You couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. But yeah, self-development, and yeah, I use a similar sort of formula to what you sort of said there, which is, you know, it's a formula for success that I use, and it's be times do equals have. So the B is very similar to what you were saying, but you were using the terminology you.
yeah.
So it's who you are
Oh yeah, no,
multiplied by
that
what
is,
you
yeah.
do equals what you get. So if you be average multiplied by do average things, what you have will be average.
Yeah.
If you be great multiplied by doing great things, you will have great things.
Yeah.
So yeah, similar type of approach. It's focusing on the be. Who do you need to be? Be a great leader, be a great manager, be a great marketing person, and then well, okay, what do I need to do to be that? Okay, I
Like
need to
that.
read books and self-learning and development and go on courses and all those.
Yeah.
But great.
Yeah.
So look, so so tell me a little bit more about the the intelligent outsourcing, because I find this a really interesting area, and um, tell me a little bit more about, firstly, how that came about for you.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting because I did it was a seminar or workshop on, and they was talking about outsourcing and said that the way forward, this is back in 2015, the only way forward for accountants is to actually outsource their work, because there's a talent issue and we can't actually get the work done. Otherwise we just need to be getting the same people, because there was not enough accountants, bookkeepers, keepers out there. So it's outsourcing the work. But when you outsource work, and we're saying we're intelligent outsourcing, but we say offshore is the most intelligent way to outsource. So, and an offshoring just means it's a real one person only working for you. You work in your systems and processes. So why I created intelligent outsourcing?
Sorry, just to clarify
Oh,
there. So so you've got outsourcing and you've got offshoring.
yes.
So and I think what I picked up there is the difference. Outsourcing, somebody might work, you might outsource a particular job, somebody might do a particular role for you for a certain period of time. What's the difference between that and offshoring?
So yeah, offshoring is actually a subset of outsourcing,
Okay.
which is why we call it intelligent outsourcing. But what it means is, so for an accountant, say, if you give it, say, year end accounts in to get done, you don't know who's doing the work because you don't know that person. It could be the same person or a different. They tend to be different people each year, so they don't learn from any mistakes they make. And then
Okay.
when it comes back to you, you've got to review it, and they're using their systems and processes, not yours. So you don't know if they doing it to your standard either. Whereas if you're an offshore person, it's like having somebody in the UK work, or wherever you are, working in your office, but remotely, using your systems, whatever they are,
Okay.
and using your processes. And they can even contact clients and stuff, asking for information. So it's a very different concept, because it's like a team member offshore, basically.
Yeah, so they're effective a full-time employee.
Yeah.
Okay, they might be part-time, but full-time employee that is just based offshore.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
In the
okay, I get it. Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted your story there of how it came about and you went
Oh
to.
yeah, and the reason was didn't want to lose control, so I didn't want to outsource the work. I wanted to have control of it, and I was, because I'm in Tunbridge Wells. I know you're in France, Simon, but I was struggling to get any talent around here because everybody was going to London, and I can't afford London fees, and then my clients don't want to pay London fees either for accountants. So I needed to get people, so I did it for myself, and then because I had somebody who worked with me who was half Filipino and had contacts. So we set it up for Naylor Accountancy Services, then to my friends, and then it grew from there, basically, because it became popular, basically.
Wow. So that's and that's so now that's out of that and setting that up from now and just doing it from your friends, you've now got a completely separate business that
Yeah.
does that for other organizations,
Yes.
and helps them to offshore a team to
Yeah.
work directly with them.
So we have 100 team members in the Philippines. We have got 2 locations, 3 offices out there, and I go out there at least twice a year. So I'll be next out in September. And what they do is, they do operate for other accountancy firms, basically. So they create teams with us. So you tend to have one person, and then as you grow, they just get another person base and grow that way.
Amazing, that's great. And okay, so look, so now you've got 2 businesses.
Yes.
What do you find the challenges of owning and running 2 businesses?
So I knew in order to help run it, I needed a good leadership team in both. So I knew that. So I got the good leadership team in intelligent outsourcing fairly quickly. Well, we you know, and we've grown it, and we've got a whole system within it how we do it, so they organize it and everything. So we have weekly leadership meetings, quarterly reviews, and our annual strategic planning, all that. I struggled within Naylor Accountancy, but I did manage to get that eventually. So, but that's through doing acquisition, because I had to buy the talent in. Although I had an issue because everybody left within 3 months. Well, because it was such a mess, their business, unfortunately. But we've cleaned it all up. But then I got two very good client managers in on the back of that, so I could afford here in the UK, afford to have them here because of the revenue we'd purchased. So we did that, and that's now working really well. So we have great leadership teams in Naylor Accountancy Services and Intelligent Outsourcing, and that's the only way I can do it, Simon, because without them I couldn't do it. So I focus on the leadership and strategic stuff, like the vision, and then I have my number two in each of the businesses, and then another leadership layers within that as well.
Like it. So again, it comes back to what you were sort of saying when you started out the business, is surrounding yourself by the right people. Because otherwise, yeah, you just couldn't do everything.
Yeah, people that are better than me in things as well, because I'm not an expert in loads of stuff.
Yeah, I heard this saying once as well, which was always employ people that are better than you.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to hire a marketing person, hire somebody that's better than you at marketing.
Yes.
You know, if you want to hire a salesperson, hire somebody that's better than you at sales. So yeah, I think that's a great point. And you've mentioned there about acquisitions, and I mean, how many acquisitions did you say you've done so far, Nikolai?
We've only done two. We've got a third one coming up, but we've got a pipeline of others each year. So we're looking to do one or maybe more a year, but at least once a year we'll be doing one. This is for Naylor Accountancy Services, so we're just looking to grow that as each year, basically. So we're creating an acquisitions team for 2025 to help with that, so we can actually do it, because it's and then it's like a McDonald's thing. You think, that's how we're looking at it. So we get the formula of how we do it, and then each acquisition is going to have a similar formula. That we'll always have learnings. There'll always be things different, but at least we know where we're moving to every time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, having that system, that process, that structure that you can use to build on. So what advice would you give to, or what's the top couple of pieces of advice that you would give somebody who is looking to make an acquisition?
Or an acquisition, whatever the business is, just make sure you understand where they are. Now, I would look at, and this is just from an accountancy firm, we might always look at Companies House and look and see what they've done, if they're filing things really late all the time or whatever, just because that just gives you a bit of indication of maybe how things are operating within the business. Make sure you get to know who their customers are and everything, and just, or see if they're the right type of customers that you want. So for us, we'd get an aging as well. We can't obviously get the client names, but we look at the aging of it. So, because obviously if they're all coming up to retirement and you're buying a customer bank, that customer bank is not going to be around long.
Yeah.
And you need you need to also know your return ROI. So at what point are you going to then have paid off for that acquisition and then start earning again? So it's all thinking about it and planning it, and don't be scared that you're going to make mistakes, because you will, and it will be tough. Your first one, it will be tough.
Yeah, there's because something you sort of said earlier. One of is the one of the challenges is actually if you make an acquisition, is keeping hold of the people in that team that actually you want to keep hold of, and then actually merging that with the culture sort of existing business. So you've got those bits that you mentioned there about the client base and how well they're operating their business, and then you've got the cultural side of things. Is it a cultural fit, and how's it going to fit with your existing businesses? So so I think that, as you say, having that plan and actually acknowledging that it is going to be tough, actually really helps with how you approach it.
No, I agree.
So one thing that you know, before I discuss these interviews, I like to do a bit of research. I was looking at your the website for Naylor Accountancy, and something that I really liked on there. Well, there's a lot of things I really liked, but one thing I liked was you've got on there. It says there's 3 types of accountant. Okay, do you know what those 3 types are that I'm picking up there, Nikolai?
Yes.
So you mentioned that they were standard growth and a virtual FD.
Yes.
And I really like that, because quite often we don't actually understand what an accountant does or what their role is. And I quite often coach sort of clients, and I talk to them about their finances, and they go, oh yeah, it's okay, I've got an accountant. But not all accountants do the same things, do they? So perhaps just sort of summarize for me how you position the difference between a standard accountant, a growth accountant, and a virtual FD.
I mean, a standard accountant for us is just doing the compliance. So you're just doing the compliance, and the compliance, for those that you don't know, is like year-end accounts, VAT, payroll, self-assessments, just making sure that you're compliant with HMRC and the government, and you're not going to get fined. So it's like your peace of mind. So that's the standard, and they tend to also do things near the deadlines rather than sooner, you know, so that then you can actually make more educated decisions, and you know that you have to spend X amount of money on corporation tax in 6 months' time rather than tomorrow. Because that's what we found with the first one. It was all happening here, you pay this today or tomorrow, and that was it. So with the growth one, I mean, so we come into the growth and FD is they look at you if you want the support and able to actually grow you as a business to help you thrive by giving you sort of extra advice and also doing real-time bookkeeping. So we use technology, Simon. We have Xero and QuickBooks, so cloud-based software. So as long as the bookkeeping is on time, you know, daily or whatever it is that you do, you know, on a regular basis during the month, you have real-time information, so you can make real-time decisions rather than just at the end of the year, oh, by the way, you lost 20 grand, but that was 9 months ago. so or longer, because of it, you know, obviously it could have been. So it actually gives you the ability to make better decisions and help businesses thrive. And then the other one with that virtual FD as well is that you're able to steer people up a path on a regular meeting, you know, with management accounts and everything like that as well, in order to make better decisions at the same time as look at how investments and return on investment might help you. Like if you invest more in marketing, that your sales should go up. So you can then look at the KPIs there. And I'm sure you do this, Simon, in your coaching. And then there's all the things that you'd be looking at. So I've just been talking to a friend who's with another accountant, and I've said, look, and I just looked at she told me her issues, and the issues were that they weren't getting any feedback on anything. They weren't even reviewing the accounts with them, you know, as in talking through them. They were just getting them in an email, and that was it. And they, you know, they wanted to do a dividend, and they said, oh, I don't know until we've done the accounts. But from what she told me, they could have done them straight away just because they had retained earnings in there. Now, what we look at, and it's not just us, it's all more what I call modern accountants, is they look at the tech. They can go in and just look in Xero, QuickBooks, see where they are and say, yeah, you can do the dividend, or let's have a quick look. You'd be able to do that straight away. And also you've been able to give the support. So we say we want to help businesses thrive. So we have services that help businesses thrive. And that means, you know, getting better profit. And that, I know that's what you'll be working on, Simon. We do profit first, which is a concept, you know, by John Macarelich. I can't say his name properly.
Yeah.
but all that is just ways that we can help businesses. And it's just like you know, you want businesses to thrive and survive, not just survive. You want them to thrive. So, you know, because a lot of businesses work hand to mouth, And we see that in our firms, and that's why we want to help them. And also, they might be paying salaries more than them, and that does happen occasionally because as a business owner, it does go up and down because it's a bit of a roller coaster, as you know, Simon. I'm sure with your
Absolutely
clients.
Yeah. Look, and look, the reason I highlighted this because I think that's great. I love that understanding that different standard growth and virtual FD, and by the way, as a coach, I love working with with accountants that are growth accountants and virtual FDs because that it links really well together in terms of working to grow that business. And I think for business owners to actually understand the difference between a standard accountant, a growth accountant, and a virtual FD is really important, and actually how by getting a accountant that supports you in that growth and helps you, gives you real-time information to help you make decisions, can make a dramatic impact to your business and where you're going. So I really thought that was a valuable thing to share with the listeners of this podcast. But look, there's one thing, Nikolai, that I always like to ask people that are kind enough to come on this podcast is that what is the best advice that you would give an 18-year-old you?
Oh, 18-year-old me. Okay. Well, I'd actually read 2 books. So and because, like I said, I was all very academic, so that's what I focused on. But I would read it's the Dale Carnegie's book, sort of Influence.
How to Win Friends and Influence.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence. I mean, that's a really 30s book, so an old one. And then it would be Napoleon Hill's
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich. I would add a third one, but it wasn't around probably until I was 19. But that was Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Successful People. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Sorry, effective people. So those are but I'd give those 2 because I didn't even come across them until probably about 6 years ago, Simon, or 7. And then they had a profound impact because I realized I wish I'd knew them when I was working in the city.
I agree.
It would have helped me.
You've picked the reason I knew the names of all of those books is because they're in the top of my books as well. I think they are. And when I feel exactly the same, I wish I'd come across them years and years ago because they changed the way I thought and how I understood things. And I make a regular point of reading them again on a regular basis. So not just having read them once, but reading them again and again and again because you get so much more from them. So I like that. I think that's I think that's a valuable piece of advice there. And look, as we were discussing before we came on here, with I've got an 18-year-old daughter, and I believe you have as well. And that's one of the reasons that I ask these questions. So I like to pass that on to my daughter and sort of say, because if your daughter's anything like mine, they don't listen to what I say, but hopefully they might listen to advice that other people give them.
That's actually very true.
Share that with
so true.
Well, look, Nikolai, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and sharing more about your businesses and also your journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.